sought the Lord, and He answered me and delivered me from every fear. Those who look on Him already never be ashamed, never be ashamed. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard me and saved me from my enemy. The Son of God surround His saints, and in the living, singing all together, magnify the Lord with me. Come exalt His name together, glorify the Lord with me. Come exalt His name together. Oh, taste and see, the Lord is good. Oh, blessed is He who hides in Him. Oh, feel the Lord, all you saints, give you everything, give you everything. Magnify the Lord with me. Come exalt His name together, glorify the Lord with me. Come exalt His name forever. Let us bless the Lord every day and night, never ending praise. May your incense rise. Sing now. Let us bless the Lord every day and night, never ending praise. May your incense rise. Let us bless the Lord every day and night, never ending praise. May your incense rise. is he who hides in him. Oh, fear the Lord, oh, you saints who give you every day, will give you every day. You magnify, you glorify, Jesus. Glorify you, Jesus.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. You can sing it loud. And all my days I'll be held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Once each again.
'Cause all my life you have been faithful. Oh, yes, you have.
And all my life you have been so, so good.
And every breath,
And every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing
of the goodness of God. I love your voice. Oh, yes. You have led me through the fire and darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father, and I've known you as a friend. Oh, I will live in the goodness of God. Say, all my life.
And all my life you have been faithful.
All my life you have been good, Lord.
All
Yeah.
my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I live, and I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life, and all my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, and I will sing the goodness of God. To God tonight.
The Lord has been good to me. Goodness, I will sing. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me all the time. Your goodness is running after, and running after me, even when I don't see it. My life laid down, I'm surrendered now. I give you everything, oh God. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful. Yes. And all my life you have been so good, oh Lord. And every breath that I am able, oh, I want to sing of the goodness of God.
And all my life you have been faithful.
All my life you have been faithful, God.
All my life you have been so good.
Every breath that I take,
Every breath that I take,
I wanna sing you,
I
God.
will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life,
All my life,
and all my life you have been faithful.
all my
Thank you,
life
Lord.
you have been so good.
And all my life you have been so good. Every breath that I take, and I will sing of the goodness of God. Come on, church. And all my life you have been faithful.
Oh, yes, you have.
And all my life you have been so good.
And every breath
And every breath that I inhale,
I wanna sing the name of God,
and I will sing
of the goodness
of the goodness
of God.
and
Oh,
I will sing of the goodness
of God,
and I will
I
sing
wanna sing
of the goodness
of God. Sing the name. Sing the name. Sing the goodness of God. Oh, oh, oh. Sing the name.
be enthroned upon the praises of 1,000 generations. You are worthy, Lord of all. And to you, the slain, the raised, the King, we lift a voice with heaven, singing worthy, Lord of all. Be enthroned upon the praises of 1,000 generations. You are worthy, Lord of all. And to you, the slain, the raised, the King, we lift a voice with heaven, singing worthy, Lord of all. won't you join the song long before our lives, to raise your voice alone, heaven and earth alive. We see your faithfulness, your mercy without end, the King whom bled and died. Be enthroned upon the praises of 1,000 generations. You are worthy, Lord of all. And to you, the slain, the raised, the King, we lift our voice with heaven, singing worthy, Lord of all. All through this life, sing it out. On through this life we live, and through the eternity, or in this praise we'll cry, Jesus be glorified. All through this life, sing it, church. On through this life we live, and through the eternity, or in this praise we'll cry, Jesus be glorified. Jesus, Jesus be glorified. Be enthroned upon the praises of 1,000 generations. You are worthy, Lord of all. And to you, the slain, the raised, the King, we lift our voice with heaven, singing worthy, Lord of all. Be enthroned upon the praises of 1,000 generations. You are worthy, Lord of all. And to you, the slain, the raised, the King, we lift our voice in heaven, singing worthy, Lord of all. Yes, you are worthy, Lord. Yes, you are worthy, Lord. You only want Jesus. You only want the King. You only want the majesty. Highest praises, Lord of all. And to you this land raise the King. When heaven was with heaven, singing worthy, Lord of we're singing up to Jesus. You are worthy. You are worthy, Jesus. You are worthy. Be enthroned upon the praises of 1,000 generations. You are worthy, Lord of all. And to you this land raise the King. But lift the voice with heaven, singing worthy, Lord of
Over the past several weeks, we've been talking about the idea of how can you and I as individuals, but also how can you and I as a church have an impact? What can we do to change our neighborhood, our city, our workspace? What can we do to have an impact for God where we live, where we work, and where we play? 2 weeks ago, I think we summed it up with one little simple phrase. If we could love God and love people, I think we would make an impact. Unfortunately, what you and I do most of the time is we love God on Sunday, and then when it's time to love God and love people during the week, let's just be honest, somebody makes us angry and we don't do a good job of loving. Or is that just me? We also talked about some practical things that you and I can maybe do to be good servants and to love God and love people. And one of the ideas that we have is how can you and I be a part of facilitating 100 small groups in our city so that people could gather together to talk about the things of God and pray for one another. And so there's lots of things in the works for that, but the biggest obstacle we've removed for many of you. You might say, well, I can't do that because I'm not great at English, or I don't speak English at all. No problem. We're actually looking for groups in Portuguese, not in English. So we removed that one for you. There's a video that you watch for 10 or 15 minutes with some questions. You can host a group in English, but we're primarily searching for Portuguese. There's several in the works, but 2 that we've kind of finalized to show up on the screen if you're interested in one in Portuguese. Gabriel will have one in Campo Limpo on Wednesdays. His number is on the screen, and you could use that to contact him and get some information about that. If you're interested in using one for English, Zanelli will host one here in Morambi on Tuesdays. So if you're interested in that in English, her number is on the screen, and you could contact her about that. There's several others in the works. If you want to host one, use the email at the bottom of the screen and let us know, because we would be glad to hook you up. Also, we talked about how we can serve the city in different ways. Coming up on June the 3rd, we will be returning to IBTE. IBTE is an organization in the center of the city that we partner with. It's near Krakolandia, works with kids and teenagers. So we'll be returning there on June the 3rd to hang out, have some games, serve some food. So if you're interested in that, make sure you put that on your calendar for June the 3rd. We'll give you more information later, yeah? That's all the infomercial stuff I have for now anyways. I don't know if you remember several years ago in Thailand, there was a group of 12 boys who were with their coach, and they went into a cave. And as they went into this cave, it started raining, and they got stuck in this cave. I don't know if you remember this story at all. It was rather scary. They were stuck in there for a long time. There was a man by the name of Elon Musk, who you might know him from Tesla and some rocket ship thing. I don't remember what it's called. He heard about this and he thought, let me see if I can come up with some way to maybe help rescue these kids. So he got his team together and they started building this little submarine. They started building this little submarine that they could take into this cave, and they could put a kid inside of this submarine, and then they could get the kid out, but they would have to do it one at a time. This apparently was really dangerous because a professional diver who was trying to take food into them actually died. I don't know if it was on his way in or out. But this was a dangerous situation. So Elon Musk and his team created this little submarine. He flew it to Thailand and he delivered it to the government and said, maybe this will work. They made a few tests and they decided that this was not the best way to rescue these kids. But Elon Musk said, okay, no problem, how can I help? And he just stayed and volunteered and served and just tried to do whatever he could to help. They eventually get all of the kids out, they rescue them, and everything is successful. But they did not use Elon Musk's submarine. But after it was over, he said to the government, why don't you keep this because maybe you can use it in the future. If I'm honest, if I built a little submarine to rescue kids and you didn't use my submarine, I'm going to be a little angry. I spent, I don't know how much money building it and getting it here, and you didn't use it. I'm not helping you. I'm just being, maybe in the moment, God would change my heart, but I'm just saying I think I would be a little selfish. But I think we, the church, can learn from this. How can we best serve? And here's some ideas, and if you don't use my idea, it's okay. If you and I have a heart of a servant, we'll make an impact. Like, I think that's the simple truth. If you and I have the heart of a servant, we will make an impact. How can we be a good servant? In Matthew chapter 5, verse 16, it says this, in the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Others should see God in the things that you do. That's what that verse says. Others should see God in the way that you act, in the way that you serve, in the way that you speak. But usually you and I start drifting towards, it's about me, don't we? We have this tendency to drift towards, it's what I want, it's about me. Maybe we don't say it out loud, but here's how you know that we drift towards me. If we were to take a group photo together this morning, and I should have done this, and put it on the screen, the first person that you will look at on the screen is you. And if you look good in the picture, it's a good photo. It doesn't matter what everybody else looks like. And if it's a bad picture of you and it's good of everyone else, it doesn't matter because it's a bad photo. So we have to fight against this idea of it's about me, and we just have to ask the question, how can I best serve? In 1 Chronicles chapter 12, David, he's building an army. So he's trying to gather people to build an army. And we're only going to look at one verse, but this is what it says in verse 17. David went out to meet them and said to them, the them is a group of people that were coming to say, I think I can help you. If you have come to me in peace to help me, I am ready for you to join me. But if you have come to betray me and my enemies to betray me to my enemies, when my hands are free from violence, may the God of our ancestors see it and judge you. A couple of things that we can learn from this. These people took initiative, and they came to David and said, I think we can help. So I think what you and I can learn from this is we can take initiative, or should take initiative. Why do we always desire for someone to just beg us to help? Like if we beg someone to help, we think it makes us feel better. Just offer what you have. The other thing is interesting, the word betray. David says, if you've come to betray me, the original language, this word betray means hidden agenda. David says, if you've come with a hidden agenda, I don't want any part of this. Don't bring your hidden agenda to me. He said, are you coming in peace? Or do you have a hidden agenda? Because sometimes in the church world, people show up with lots of baggage because someone or some other church did something to them and it was bad. But they bring all of this stuff and they have an agenda. All I'm asking you is, do you come today in peace? Or do you come with an agenda? If you come with peace, come in peace, welcome. If you come with an agenda, the door is that way. There's a really interesting contrast in the Gospels between two of the disciples, Judas and John. Judas had a hidden agenda. John, it says, was wanting to know, hear, and understand the heart of Jesus. Judas' agenda ends up lifeless. John's desire to know, hear, and understand the heart of Jesus brings him and others life. They were both close to Jesus. Proximity-wise, they were near him. The warning for you and me in this particular thing is simply this: being close to Jesus, being in proximity, is not enough. Judas was close, yet his agenda was lifeless. So just coming to church is not sufficient. Just coming to church doesn't make you someone who desires to know the heart of God. If coming to church makes you a good Christian, then going to McDonald's makes you a Big Mac. It doesn't work that way. So I want to look really quick at just a few attitudes of a servant. We'll just run through, I don't know, there's 5, 6 of them, 7, I don't know. Attitudes of a servant. A servant serves from the heart. They don't want the attention. Their service is a response to God for what God has done for them or to them. So their service is attempting to give attention to God, not attention to themselves. I think this is good. A servant does not keep score. This, for some of us, is challenging because we're competitive and we want to keep score on everything. But a servant does not keep score. A servant understands that their service will cost them something. But if we're not careful, we start saying, I'm serving a lot. I'm special. I deserve, and we put in the blank whatever we think that we deserve. We have to be careful that we don't keep score. I'll do it even if no one else will. In the Bible, we see the story of Lucifer, who, when he was in heaven, starts keeping score. Don't you think that I should be the one to be worshiped? Don't you think because I am good and special, I'm the one that should be worshiped? Like, if this is not a warning for you and me, I don't know what else is. Don't be Lucifer. A servant sees a need and tries to meet it. They see a need and they simply try to meet it. I think it was, last week, 2 weeks ago, we talked about the story of the Good Samaritan. And the man who eventually helps the guy who's on the side of the road, he knew by helping, it was going to cost him time and it was going to cost him treasure. Sometimes we miss the whole point of that story because the whole point of the story comes at the very end when Jesus says, go and do likewise. That's the point of the story. Giving of your time, giving of your talent, giving of your treasure, see a need, meet a need. I was hoping something would happen today. It didn't happen the way that I want, so it's not going to be funny. But someone saw a need of, hey, wouldn't it be nice to have cake at church? They just started bringing cake. Nobody asked them to. Well, let's have some cake. What I was hoping, they brought more today. What I was hoping is the cake would be gone, and some of you would say, I didn't know there was cake. This is because you showed up late. That's why but it didn't work out that way today. Another person saw a need, and they said, you know what? How do you get all of this stuff set up? Oh, a few people show up at 7:30 and haul it up the stairs. Oh, okay. I can help do that. And they show up 7:30 and haul the stuff up the stairs. Like, that's not glamorous. Like, it's kind of sweaty. It will, however, you can save money at the gym. You don't even have to pay for the gym. You just come here and work out. This person is moving. We need somebody else to come at 7:30. A servant wants to make God look good, not themselves. The way you serve should be bringing attention to Jesus, not yourself. I'm going to tell a couple of stories today, and none of these stories have to do with anyone who comes to this church. I watch a lot of services. I go to other churches, and there was this guy who was playing guitar. It's not here, but it was like this dude was performing to get some award, and he's just, and it was so distracting that it was impossible to worship because the dude is making everybody look at him, not look at God. Matthew chapter 5, we already looked at part of this, but it says, "You are a light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." The reason that they're seeing your good deeds is so that they too can glorify God. We have to be careful, because sometimes, look at me, look at me, look at me, I'm special, just be careful, because it's not about you. A servant is humble. It's not I-focused. It's not about position. It's not about power. It's not about authority. It's about a servant's heart. In a different church, there's this dude who comes and says, "Oh, I'm a professional singer, and I need to sing at your church with you. I'm really good, I'm really good, I'm really good." My experience when somebody says that they're really, really good, they're usually not. This was a different church. It was in the U.S. There was a process, but he's just like, "Oh, let me sing, let me sing." So we made a decision, just because he would not shut up, we'll let him sing, but we'll just turn off his mic. The dude sang so loud that he was louder than everyone else who actually had their mic turned on. So then we had to have a conversation with him about, look, the idea is for us to blend together. It's for us to focus on God. You should not be singing louder than the person leading the song. And then we worked with this homeless shelter. We would go there and give food and do a service, and we asked him, "Hey, will you go help us lead worship at this homeless shelter?" And he's like, "No, I don't really have time for that." Then, because we had a lot of musicians, we would say, "Hey, would you, on a Sunday when you're not singing, would you go help lead worship for the kids ministry?" "No, I don't really have time for that." The only thing that he had time for was being up on the big stage in front of all the people so that he could say, "Look at me, look at me, look at me." And the moment that we said he could not do that, he gets angry, leaves the church saying, "The church doesn't love me, the church is bad, the church is all of these things," when the reality was he could not sing and he did not have a servant's heart. Look, let's be honest. Some of us should not have a mic, myself included. Like, some of us, everyone can sing. Everyone should sing. It's just some of you should sing way far in the back with me. Like, not everyone should have a mic. Listen to me carefully. When pride enters a church, God exits the church. We must be careful. When someone is saying, "Look at me, look at me, look at me," God says, "Oh, well, nobody wants to worship me, so I will go somewhere else." If you are too big for the small things, you are too small for the big things. Make yourself available. Do the jobs that no one else wants to do. But glorify God in everything that you think, everything that you say, and everything that you do. Bring glory to God. A servant is committed. There's an interesting story in 2 Kings chapter 17. These people are being attacked by lions. Like every time they go out, they're attacked by lions. And they start praying that God would give them protection from these lions. And God does provide them protection. But I want you to see what it says in verse 33, and I hope that we do not miss this. It says, they worshiped the Lord, but they also served their own gods in accordance with the customs of the nations from which they had been brought. They wanted God to protect them from the lions, but that's all they wanted. They didn't want God in their everyday life. They didn't want God to help them make decisions. They didn't want to worship God. They just wanted God to protect them from the lions. Sometimes you and I, if we're not careful, we start thinking, I just want enough of God to keep the lions away. I want to be connected to God, but not committed to God. Do you see the difference? I want to be connected. I want to show up if I have time. I want to be there when I can, but I just want to be connected because it makes me feel good to be connected to God when I go to church. But I don't want to be committed. I just want enough God to keep the devil away. Look, if the church thinks that the church is about Sunday, we have failed. The church is not solely about Sunday. The church is about, what do you do tomorrow? What do you do on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday? How do you honor God with the way that you think and the way that you live and the way that you speak? Please don't get confused and think that you can just be connected on Sunday but not committed during the week, because that is not what a Christian is about. On your way in, hopefully you received a nail. Take it out, please. If you don't have a nail, raise your hand and someone will come by and give you a nail. Everyone needs a nail. So if you don't have one, raise your hand. I see a few people down here. During biblical times, if you had a debt that you couldn't pay, like something happened in your life and you had this debt that you weren't able to pay, you would be put in prison. And you would just sit in prison. However, if someone came along and they decided that they wanted to pay for your debt, they could pay off your debt, then you were legally obligated to serve them for 7 years. So just pretend you have a debt you cannot pay. Someone comes and pays for your debt, and you become their servant. You become their slave for 7 years. But the end of 7 years, when the 7 years is up, you're free. You have no more obligation. You can walk away. Even if the 7 years of your service you were not able to pay off what your debt was, after 7 years you're free. In the Bible, there's a word that sometimes gets used, and the word is bond servant. Paul says, I am a bond servant of Jesus. Here's what this word means. If you paid off your debt, at the end of 7 years, you're free to go, but you decide, I like working for this person. I'm going to give the rest of my life to this person, you become then a bond servant. And the way that this bond servant is identified is they would take a nail and they would put it through your ear. So everybody needs to stick it in your ear right now. That's a joke. I don't want to have to pay for the blood in the theater. But that's how they were identified. A bond servant was identified by a nail being put through their ear, and it indicated this person is not required to serve here. This person serves here because they want to, because they love their master. What I would like for you to do with the nail is take it home and put it somewhere where you would see it every day, maybe in your bathroom, maybe in your car, maybe by a mirror. And I pray that every time you see this nail, you would be reminded, if you're a follower of Jesus, you're a bond servant. Because Jesus paid a debt that you could not pay. You were imprisoned with the debt of sin. And Jesus didn't take a nail and stick it through his ear. He took nails through his hands and his feet, and he died on a cross for the forgiveness of your sins. He paid a debt that you could not pay. And we don't serve him out of obligation. We don't serve him hoping to get anything in return. We serve him because of what he has done and continues to do in our life. And my prayer is that when you see this nail, you would be reminded of Jesus' sacrifice for you, but you would also be reminded that you are called to sacrifice for him.
Here I am, down on my knees again, surrendering all, surrendering all. Find me, known as your own name, desperate for you, desperate for you. I surrender. surrender. I wanna know you more. I wanna know you more.
I searched the world, but it couldn't feel me. Man's empty praise and treasures that fade are never enough. Then you come along, yeah, and put me back together, and every desire are now satisfied here in your love.
Everybody, what did you get?
Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. Lord, there's nothing, nothing is better than you.
I'm not afraid.
I'm not afraid to show you my weakness, my failures and flaws. Lord, you've seen them all, and you still call me friend. 'Cause the God of the mountain, He's the God in the valley. And there's not a place your mercy and grace won't find me again. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing, and nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. Let's say it once again, there's nothing. Oh, there's nothing better than you. Nothing than you. There's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing is better than you. Yeah, I want to hear it.
Come on, Chuck. What you got? You turn morning to dancing. You do beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can.
Once again,
You turn mornings to dancing. You turn beauty for ashes. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can. You turn graves into gardens. You turn bones into armies. You turn slaves into highways. You're the only one who You turn graves into gardens.
yes, you did.
You turn bones into armies.
And you touched
You turn seas into highways. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who can. You're the only one who
can. 'Cause you're the only one who can. There is none like you. You'll always be the only one who can. 'Cause there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. Oh, there's nothing, nothing is better than you. Oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you. promise. You turn shame into glory. You're the only one who can.